Hello, everyone. This is Michelle Landry, and I'm excited that you have joined us today on Health Coach Impact. We are the interview show that spotlights health coaches from all over in all different kinds of niches, showing you what the health coaching world is in each of our own individual lives. I am really excited to bring to you today Johanna Fassbender. And Johanna, we are just going to jump right into this interview, and I want to welcome you to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. What an opportunity.
I'm excited to have you. So Johanna, tell me about your health coaching journey, or what even got you into health coaching, and what was that passion and excitement behind it?
Yeah. Well, I think, it probably all started about, I would say, 7 years ago. And it actually started with a coworker of mine, a friend. We worked together, and she drank a green smoothie. And I just saw the color of that drink, and I started asking questions like, what's in that drink? What does it taste like? How do you make it? And she told me, shared a little bit about her story and gave me her recipe. And so finally, I made the green smoothie myself, and actually shared it with my husband also. I was worried what he was going to say, but he loved it. And he said, oh my God, let's do this every day. So we started making smoothies every day. And, the funny thing was that he, is an active guy, an athlete, but that he really started leaning out, right? So just bringing in all these nutrients, his body started to change. And then more and more, I just started researching things, starting to read labels, what is in our food, right? Started to cook more from scratch. I mean, I was cooking before, but, still using certain packages, right? Rice-a-roni, I loved rice-a-roni, right? I would just add some vegetables to it, and that was it. So started to read labels, and, was like, oh my God, can't use that anymore. And then, I was still working kind of in the art and culture field. But my husband then got another job, and we moved across the country from California to Mississippi. And I decided, what, I'm going to take that opportunity to turn my passion into my work, really follow that dream. Because the other thing that had happened, that his mom died of complications from type 2 diabetes, right? So yeah, that was a very hard time for us. And really, the more and more as I was learning back then also, right, really something that maybe could have been prevented, right, through just really big changes in lifestyle. And so, when we then moved to Mississippi, I decided, okay, this is it. I'm going to jump right into this, and got certified as a health coach through the Institute for Nutrition, Integrative Nutrition, and really loved that, and just felt like, wow, this is my new calling. Mm-hmm. And then once I graduated, I started seeing clients. And, the other things that I started doing was I also became certified as a fitness trainer and as a yoga instructor. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of the three legs of my business: fitness, yoga, and health coaching.
That's wonderful. That is so amazing. Now, you do have a bit of an accent, so I would like to find out a little bit more about your past history and where that came from, because I like to look at our whole lives as our whole body of work. So there had to have been something in there that kind of spurred on what you're doing now also in your, in your upbringing.
Yeah, it's so interesting you say that. I mean, I'm originally from Germany. That's where the accent comes from. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in Germany, right? I came to the US as an international student the first time, I think, in 2000, right? 2001, I was here, and then went back to Germany to finish my degree. But, growing up in Germany, I mean, looking back, I really appreciate that, right? I grew up on a farm, and it wasn't a working farm. It was, my mom always said, it was kind of a hobby that got out of hand, because it was a lot of work. But, you know, just us being outside, running around outside, playing, being in touch with nature, with animals. My mom had a big vegetable garden and a greenhouse, right? She cooked every day. So, right, with everything I've learned, I really appreciate that. You know, I think that she set us up. She gave us a good foundation, right, for our health and our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many people don't have that, especially here in the US. You know, especially kids nowadays, they're raised on technology and we're in this four walls and don't
Yeah.
really get all of that. So having that background, it really set a really good foundation, like you said,
Yeah.
for what you're doing now. And so um, with your background, and you said that you were in the arts, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, so my degree in Germany was in cultural anthropology and American studies. I got a master's in those two subjects. And, you know, studying American studies, they basically tell you, you have to go to the US then and study there, right? They almost
Oh,
force you to go.
wow.
So that's when I came here in 2000 and 2001. I studied at San Francisco State University for a few semesters. And then finished my degree. And as I was, you know, back in Germany, and as I was thinking about, okay, what do I want to do with this? I came to museums, right? Museum work, and I'd taken a class exploring that a little bit. And, you know, was really fascinated by that. How did people, you know, so and so many years live? You know, what was that like? What was their material culture like, right? And I decided to go back to school and get a degree in museum studies. And afterwards, then I started, you know, working in different museums. And I did a little bit of everything. You know, I put together exhibits, I gave school tours, I put together teaching materials for different grade levels, I trained volunteers, I took care of objects, right? So really a little bit of everything, which was a lot of fun. But, you know, very stressful, I have to say. Working in the nonprofit world, you know, many times you are supposed to do more with less,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's long hours, the pay isn't very good. Oftentimes the benefits are really lousy, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I could tell that, you know, our last 2 years in California, even though I was, you know, exercising, I was eating right, but that the stress was getting to me, you know? And that's really, I think also when I started paying more attention to that, the impact stress has. And I think that, you know, I mean, we're all talking about it, right? But the general public, I think, is just now starting to get to that, you know, starting to
Yes.
understand that. And, you know, I think a lot of people still don't believe me when I say that, you know, getting rid of the stress can help you lose weight, right?
Right. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, we're a body, soul, and spirit. It's a whole package there. And
Yeah.
you've been a testament to how just being in that nonprofit slash corporate world and the stress and all of that can impact your life. And then with something as simple as a green smoothie will make it's the catalyst for change. And
Yeah.
as health coaches, those are the little intricacies that we really focus on. It's those little tiny things that make those big switches in a person's life and in the whole trajectory of their life too. So then you have this whole world that is opened up that you
Yeah.
didn't even know existed. I know there's tons of, you know, worlds out there that we don't exist because we don't live in them, but you've
Yeah.
been able to take that path and be able to change and do that.
I know, you're so right, right? It started really small, you know, and that's what I try to tell my clients. You know, it's not all or nothing, right? There's a lot of space in between, and you don't have to do everything all at once, but it's all about baby steps, right? Taking consistent action
Mm-hmm.
towards your goals.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at one point, things become a habit, right? I don't have to think about making a smoothie anymore, right? It's become a habit. It's part of, what I do,
Right.
So then you can, put more energy towards newer things, right? New
Right.
baby steps.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, making a transition from from California to Mississippi, that's a big cultural shock in itself.
Yeah, that is a big change. Yeah.
How have you transitioned with that? How have you done with that?
Yeah. I think I've done pretty well. I mean, it's always easier, if you go with other people, right? So going together with my husband has definitely helped. I think it would have been a lot more challenging if I had moved here by myself. Um, and then the other thing, as I said, I grew up on a farm in Germany, so in really a small town. And we live in a small town now, right? So it's actually been kind of nice to be in a space that is surrounded by nature again. I
Mhm.
mean, there's plenty of nature in California, but we lived right in the heart of the Bay Area, I mean, just apartment buildings all around us, stores, right? Traffic. It was just too much. It was not a good living environment, where I feel like you can thrive as far as your health goes.
Mhm.
Um, so it's been really nice to have that quiet, to have, birds around, green trees. I've really enjoyed that. Um, and then I think, that it has really helped me to start teaching classes also, as a fitness trainer, as a yoga instructor, starting to teach classes, because then you automatically meet people.
Right,
Right.
exactly. And integrating all of that together is what a lot of health coaches don't realize is they can take their training as a health coach and use it in different areas. And I think that's what this show is a lot about, is showing other health coaches and other wellness practitioners how just having that foundation of health coaching can branch off into all of these other wonderful areas, and you're being even more of a asset to your community that way.
Yeah, you're right, because all of those things um, go together, right? The food, the movement, the stress management, right? Spirituality, it all needs to happen. Community, right? And, if somebody, for example, is also a fitness trainer, right? You talk to your clients also about food, or if you, run a food program like I ran a F.REE 5-day challenge at the beginning of the year, or I've run a 7-day detox before, right? You can tell those people that are coming to your classes, and since they're already doing something right for their health, right? I mean, they already know that there's something to it.
Right.
And you have developed a relationship with them, right? You have developed trust with them through your teaching. So, naturally, they're more likely to invest, let's say, in health coaching with you.
Right, exactly. And being involved in the community is a wonderful first step
Yeah.
to health coaching. So I know a lot of health coaches want to do online and they just want to jump right on there. At the same time, that can be a lot of distractions, because what we're taught in health coaching is to be grounded and
Yeah.
really really get your footing somewhere in those little baby steps, just like we were talking about earlier. Those little baby steps is what really sets the foundation for your health coaching practice. So starting off in your local community, having these different avenues to be able to offer, whether it's just health coaching or like you do fitness and yoga, that those are assets that you can use for that foundation. Now, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your experience at IIN, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. How did you start that in California? Did you do that in Mississippi? Where did you start that? What kind of led you to that?
Yeah. I was already looking at it in California, right? And to be honest, I don't quite remember how I found it. You know, it must have popped up an ad or something in the research I was doing, you know, back then, already trying to educate just myself, right? So I could make healthier foods for me and my husband. So somehow I had found out about Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I think I'd even talked on the phone with them, right, to get some more information. And then I just decided, okay, because at that point it wasn't quite clear yet that we would move. But I said, okay, if we're moving, I'm doing this. And you know, then we moved to Mississippi, and I think we got here the end of September 2016, and I started in November with IIN.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how was that whole experience? Because I know when I graduated in 2012, IIN was still having, I did online also, just like you did.
Yeah.
My online experience was a lot different than what yours was, because all we had was this little tiny iPod. That was all that we had. And we'd get all of our downloads and things through that. And
Yeah.
that was it. We didn't have all of this interaction and, you know, discussions and things like that. I think we had a discussion board that we would type into like once a week or something like that. But, and then we had our online forum that we would connect people. And we also, then some of us in our local group would get together, because I was in Seattle at the time, and we'd get together. But we did that on our own accord, you know, we kind of found each other. Just like now IIN grads are finding each other, and we're kind of, you know, we're using the internet. So tell me a little bit about your experience at school.
Yeah, so as you said, right, then they really changed. And I mean, everything was online, right? The lectures, the quizzes, all the materials, right? I know there was also a messaging board, right, where you could see what other people were thinking about or talking about. And I think, I mean, I really thought that it was great, and you know, super informative. And but you know, for me, I think that works pretty well also. Not everybody learns the same way, right? So towards the end, we had I forgot what it was called, but it was a group of us, right, with a mentor, meeting every week and getting some group coaching, right? And that definitely added another level that was very valuable, right? Just being able to talk face to face, back and forth, you know, try some coaching right there on the spot, right? Being coached also. So I definitely really enjoyed that. And I remember that we were talking afterwards and thinking, oh, it would be great if there was more of this in the program, because it was so helpful. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, so IIN teaches a 6-month program, and you know how to take your clients through that 6-month program. Is that something that you still utilize, or have you made your own? How have you taken that?
It is something I'm still utilizing. You know, I basically developed a 6-month program based on that, and then a 3-month program, because I found a lot of people were hesitant to commit for that long. And then what happened, you know, is that a lot of people then did the 3 months and then decided, oh, I want to do another 3 months. So, you know, it ended up being 6 months anyway. But right now I'm in the process of, you know, trying to focus myself a little more. You know, I've just kind of done the general weight loss game, right? Especially for women. And that is very difficult, right? Because there might be a young mom that just, you know, had a baby and wants to lose weight, or it might be somebody in their 50s who's going through menopause and is trying to lose weight, right? So big difference. And, you know, inspired by the passing away of my mother-in-law, and also by helping some people with pre-diabetes and having good success there, I'm creating a program now based on pre-diabetes.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I love how you're being so open about how certain things you're going through, teaching certain things, and you're not really quite aligning with those things. I know so many coaches want to do it all, and they're like, oh, I just want to help everybody. And what you find in your journey is the niche really narrows down, but you really have to get into it. You have to get in the trenches and really just start doing it in order to find that path, in order for that path to even find you.
Yeah.
And, you know, and really start going through that, because every stage of your business is going to be so different. I mean, my business, like, for example, the last 6 months has changed like 2 or 3 times, right? And it's been
Yeah.
like that through the whole times that I've been coaching. But what you're showing us also is you can take from any background and really change your life just by these small, intricate, you know, steps with everything that's coming at you, and be at peace with that also.
Yeah, right. I mean, life always changes, right? No matter who you are or what you do, right? And you might have a certain plan, but then things happen and work out a different way. And yeah, I've definitely taken that mentality, and it hasn't always been easy, you know, but I've taken the mentality of just trying different things and seeing, okay, what works and what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as you go along, yeah, you learn so much. And that would really be my, you know, encouragement to other health coaches, right? To not give up, but to keep trying, right? And just figuring out, okay, what is it that does work, and keep, you know, keep along that path. And figuring out, yeah, really, I think the niching down, you know, is crucial. And really, I mean, there's so many free trainings also online, right? That's what everybody tells you. You have to pick a niche. And it seems counterintuitive, right? Because you feel like you are losing clients, right? If you're narrowing your scope, but actually your messaging can be so much more targeted that way.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're bringing in yoga and fitness, you're really bringing in a whole holistic program in, and utilizing it for your community at the same time. So tell me a little bit about your yoga studio and how you're, you know, putting that fitness in with your health coaching.
Yeah, you know, so that is really my goal for the pre-diabetes program, right? If you look at, and I'm focusing specifically on women with pre-diabetes, working women that either, you know, the kids are older or out of the house, or they don't have any women, don't have any kids, so they actually have the time to take care of themselves. And so that pre-diabetes diagnosis is kind of the starting point, right? And food, of course, is a big part of that. But then exercise really plays a crucial role, right, in stabilizing blood sugar levels, in lowering blood sugar, right? So I'm really using my knowledge in that field also, and specifically also making sure that people don't have to spend hours in the gym, but really maximizing time, you know, getting the biggest bang for your buck, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same with the yoga, right? Bringing that in, because so many people that are diagnosed with prediabetes are in shock, right? There's then fear also. What happens if I don't get a handle on this? There's guilt. Sometimes there's shame, right?
Mm-hmm.
So bringing in the yoga and meditation to deal with all those emotions, dealing with anxiety. Some people deal with depression, right? So really having a holistic grasp there on the problem, on the prediabetes, and tackling it on all fronts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really arming people with all the tools they need to
Right.
get out of that. Yeah.
Right. And you have such a vast client base to be able to glean from, because it seems like everyone knows someone that is either diabetic or pre-diabetic. Everyone
Yeah,
knows
you're
somebody.
right.
And matter of fact, I was just talking with a girlfriend a couple weeks ago, and in her small town, they had a forum at one of the colleges that would bring in different people, and she would be able to just sit and talk with them. She's not a health coach, but she's actually a social worker, or a former social worker, and she just would sit and talk with people and go to these diabetic forums and just talk with them, just sit, because a lot of people just want somebody to talk with, just to vent and to really, you know, hear them and hear their fears. And I think that's a really good outlet, especially for a health coach, to be able to find these different forums, find these different places that people are already congregating for the particular niche. And that's one of the tips that I use when I'm talking with other health coaches in their businesses, is to really network with these different professionals, because they're focused on what they know. You know, doctors can only do so much, and they're focused on what they know. And then registered dietitians, they can only focus on, you know, their really narrow niche also. And I'm a nutritionist on top of being a health coach, because I have my bachelor's degree in nutritional science. But I also will just focus on those separate little compartments. And a lot of the times you can't focus all on just on food. You have to focus on the habits, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we do as health coaches, is focus on the habits. So that's just one little tip that I have for you, is to be able to get really networked with those different professionals, or even find those groups or even meetup groups that are meeting on diabetes or pre-diabetes, or, you know, different things like that. So you can just be able to sit there and just talk to people, right?
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, to look at meetup groups. Yeah, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought of that yet. But you're right? Some people, and that's what we were taught in IAN, right? People really just need somebody to talk to, right? Yeah, that they can heal themselves, but they need somebody there to hold their hand.
Right. And I think more and more doctors are realizing, especially with diabetes, they're realizing that food is the big picture on that. Yes, they do have the medications, which we don't even touch. We let the doctors deal with that.
Yeah.
We just deal with, we really deal with mindset as health coaches. We really do. We deal with the mindset.
Yeah, that's right. Holding people's hands, helping them with their goals, right? Helping them even verbalize that, right? What is it that you want? Right. I mean, we don't really, I think, take time to think about that. Yeah.
So what are some of the leading questions that you would ask a client going into, you know, just talking about their situation and such? These are little things that health coaches that are just getting started, or even health coaches that are already in the field, we can all learn a little bit more from each other. What are some of those leading questions that you ask?
Yeah, I think asking more, you know, always digging a little deeper, right? I mean, if somebody says, you know, I want to lose 10 pounds, well, why? You know, how would that make you feel, right? Like getting them into the mindset of being there already, right? And what that means to them, right, at that point. And really, I think crystallizing out also, is it about them, or is it something, you know, that somebody else brings up in them, right? Maybe, I'm just making this up, maybe they're fine with their body, but maybe somebody else, their husband or partner, wants them to lose weight, you know? So really I think always digging deeper, asking the why behind the superficial questions, right? Another question that, you know, I found really powerful is because when you work with a client, it's not always just going to be a linear progression, right? It's not going to be, oh, we're starting here at point A, and then it's going straight up and everything is going to be fine, right? But it goes up and down, and the client makes progress, and then maybe they're taking a step back again, right? They're falling into an old habit. So a question I like to ask is just, what is one little thing you can do to get back on track, or what would be a sign, that would show that you're back on track, right? To just get them again to think about baby steps, right? And not, and look forward, and not, then create more guilt about, oh, I went into the snack machine at work again, I'm so bad, but instead look forward and say, okay, what is one sign that you're overcoming this obstacle, that you're moving ahead.
Yeah. I mean, keeping the client moving forward, even if it is in those baby steps. I think that's what our discussion has been about, is those baby steps.
Yeah.
And I mean, even those little tiny things that have progressed you forward, you're using your foundation and your history to really help those other people move forward. So Johanna, what is your focus right now? What are you said that you're doing pre-diabetes and diabetes, and really putting different programs together. How are you integrating that with your yoga studio and your fitness and your local community? And what do you plan on doing, if you plan on taking anything online, or if you're just really focusing on local?
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like, I was saying to my husband the other day, I feel like, how am I so busy but not yet making that much money? I mean, especially because I'm working on the pre-diabetes program, really trying to flush that out, right? Making sure it's all good to go. And that then, it will be one-on-one coaching, really with anybody, right? I'm having somebody go through the program right now who is in Oregon. And we're, meeting over the phone, and obviously using emails and text messages to send materials back and forth. So I'm working on that and really trying to get all that set up. But then I still have the local classes going on, right? I'm renting a small yoga studio here and offering classes there. I just wrapped up. I had all throughout the spring, I hosted different workshops there also. So that it was definitely challenging. I could tell that, like as coaches, we also have to make sure we take care of ourselves, right? We walk the talk. So I decided I'm not, hosting any more workshops for now, right? So I can kind of put that on the back burner a little bit. I'm still keeping up my regular classes, but hosting workshops, even though if you're not teaching them, right, there's still a lot of work coordinating with somebody else, getting the word out, right? It takes a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And the same with the fitness classes. I earlier in the year, together with another fitness trainer, we hosted a boot camp, and that was really fun, but also a lot of work. And we said we would do it again. So we'll see, how the year progresses. But for right now, I'm keeping my classes up, but my focus is really on making this pre-diabetes program a strong program.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. That's wonderful, because when we have our focus on one thing, we can be more laser, instead of with all these different shiny objects and such. And yeah, it does take a little bit of time. And I think I heard someone say entrepreneurs are the only people that'll work 80 hours a week for, little to no pay. And it's true. It's like when we're doing what we love, we just kind of throw our whole self into that. That's all part of the foundation also. It's all part of the whole body of work that is going to eventually build up to what it is that we're seeing in our mind's eye for our businesses and our life. And if you keep on that track and keep focusing on what it is that you're being pulled to do at that time, I believe that people will be brought into your life that you can network with, and it's just going to make that foundation even stronger. I think what your niche is going to be amazing, especially in your community being in Mississippi. I know I live in Dallas, so we're both, in the southern end, and it's all fried foods and, sugar, like sweet tea is it's the drink for everything, right?
Yeah, the beverage of choice. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So, but anyways, Johanna, I absolutely loved our interview together. And how can people get a hold of you and online and be able to, network with you or be able to get you information or vice versa?
Yeah, I'm going to give you two URLs. One, right, just for other health coaches, if they're interested, they can go to my website, and that's loveyourhealth.us. For people, if by chance anybody is listening with prediabetes, I just put together a free resource, right? It's a little, ebook, a PDF that shows people how they can easily make a few swaps in their foods, right, and still enjoy food, but take away a lot of the unnecessary sugars, the carbs, and eat healthier, right, immediately. And I'm actually going to read that so I don't mess it up. So it's a bit.ly link. It's bit.ly, L-Y, / no guilt food. So you don't have to feel guilty about eating that food.
Okay. And we'll have all of these show notes put underneath this video or in the podcast notes, wherever you are getting this information from, whether you're on YouTube, it'll be in the YouTube notes, or if you're getting this on our Facebook page, which is Health Coach Impact, we'll have it there, or if you are listening to this on iTunes, when this launches on iTunes, it'll be all in the show notes, so everyone will be able to get that information also. So thank you so much, Johanna, for taking this time and sharing your story with us. It was so wonderful being able to hear the background and your foundations and where you're going and how all of this is just blooming into this wonderful practice that you have.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're so sweet. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and sharing my story a little bit, and I hope it's helpful to others. And
I know.
And thank you for your tips also. I'm definitely going to look up meetup groups in the area.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, okay, everybody, I absolutely loved having Johanna with us today, and be sure to like and subscribe to Health Coach Impact on whichever platform that you're on. Be sure to like and subscribe in order to get the next interviews that will be coming up soon. Have an amazing day, evening, week, wherever you're at. Bye-bye now.
Mm-hmm.